Here at Helmuth Ford, we are a small town dealership with no hassle and no pressure.
The Watch Your Opera House presents the Midwest Country Music Organization New Artist of the Year, Jordan Beam, featuring John Griffiths, this Saturday at 7 p.m. Tickets are just $10. Get them at watchyoroperahouse.org or get them at the door. See one of the Midwest's best with Iowa's Jordan Beam this Saturday night, 7 p.m. at the Watch Your Opera House.
As these Iowa skies.
Delta Fire and Rescue presents the Delta Haunted House at 109 North Center Street in Delta. Admission is just $10 per person. The Delta Haunted House is open each Friday and Saturday throughout October and on Halloween night from 8 to 10 p.m. Food and drinks will be available for purchase, and now accepting cash and most major credit cards. It's the Delta Fire and Rescue Delta Haunted House, Fridays and Saturdays in October and on Halloween night.
Welcome back to the show.
Welcome back to the show.
And now, your hosts of the Card Subject to Change podcast, the For Frequency Sake Tag Team Champions of the World, the Wizard CZ, and Never Wrong Nick Gold.
Hello and welcome to a special edition of Card Subject to Change. I am your host, the Wizard CZ, and as you can see, Never Wrong Nick Bull is not with us tonight. He has family obligations, but filling in is someone I think that'll do just fine. I'm excited. From Shotgun Wrestling Radio, Mr. Zach Takis. Zach, how are you today?
I'm doing great, my friend. Thank you for having me. It's going to be an exciting night here at Absolute Pro Wrestling in Waterloo. If you're not here yet, you have plenty of time to get here. Even if you're in the Cedar Rapids area, you got plenty of time to get here before the bell starts at 7 p.m. ish,
7 p.m.
roughly. So yeah, you got plenty of time. Hop in your car now, get down here, come on, hang out with us.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. This should be a good card. Two cage matches here tonight. One of them a fatal four-way cage match, and we're going to have a couple of the competitors from the fatal four-way, and we're going to bring in one of them right now. Joining us on the podcast, one Mr. Victor Payne. Come on in, have a seat here, Victor.
Just don't make me feel the pain, please.
Go ahead and grab the microphone, have a seat. Welcome to Card Subject to Change.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So I'm going to start things off. You are in a fatal four-way cage match. I guess the first question is, have you been inside a cage before?
Well, to be honest, I've been locked inside steel 21 different times. I was an MMA fighter before this life, and I've been in there. I have plenty of experience inside the cage, more than all three of those other men combined, I think. So if anybody is more ready for this match, it's me.
So what is your mindset going into a match like this? I mean, MMA background, that's one-on-one from what I'm familiar with, but you've got three other guys that you're going inside the steel with. How do you prep for that? What is your mindset going in?
I prep for it the same way I do everything else. Heavy in the gym, lifting. My whole mindset has changed since Jason Prentice put me in this cage match. It's brought out a whole nother animal in me. Like the passion I have for this, and tonight that they're gonna feel, no pun intended, they're gonna feel pain.
Now, as you're going into this matchup, obviously we're all wrestling fans. We've all seen steel cage matches over the years. Have you done any tape study here recently to kind of help get you in that right frame of mind? Or, what cage matches of Cage Match Pass have been some of your favorites over the years?
I'll be honest, this week especially, last week, Bad Blood, Hell in a
Yeah.
Cell, I've watched that about 4 or 5 times in a row. I just could not get enough, and that's what's going to happen tonight. A little bit of that.
That was easily probably one of the best Hell in a Cell matches they've produced in the last 15, 20-something years
Absolutely.
of having it sell.
I couldn't agree more. I'm not a Punk fan, and everybody knows that, but I am after that, and that he brought it, and that's what I'm going to bring tonight. Every little bit of that.
So talk a little bit about your background, how you got into wrestling, what brought you to the table.
Honestly, I've been watching wrestling since I was like 3 or 4 on Grandpa's lap and Grandpa and Grandma's house, and honestly, I got scared at a point in my life where I was going to do it, and I never pulled the trigger when I was 19 and stuff. And I got old enough, and my mom passed, and it just started looking at life a little different, and decided let's chase this dream and show them what Victor's made of.
Absolutely.
Who were some of the guys that you had looked up to growing up as a kid as wrestlers that made you say, "Hey, if I'm ever going to do this,
Right.
in a certain point of your life, who were some of the guys that you looked up to and said, that's who I want to be like?"
Honestly, I'm like, I'm an attitude era kid when I really
Yep.
remember a lot of wrestling. Goldberg, I loved Goldberg as a kid. As you grow older, you realize
Hey, though, in fairness, if you go back to that era and watch
Right.
any Goldberg match, and I know like kids today and people that have
Right.
not are past Attitude Era fans, they don't know how over that dude was in that era. So
right.
it's-
I guess I'm a fan of that era Goldberg
Yeah.
for sure. I'm not a fan of new age
right,
Goldberg.
right.
It's but like guys like that, Kevin Nash, bigger guys. 'Cause
Yeah.
even as a kid, I was probably one of the bigger kids, and
Right.
like just looked up to these big guys. Big Van Vader is like one of my favorites. Like hard hitting, bring that action, and I like guys like that.
No
Take your
doubt.
head off, no nonsense, bring it. Like guys like Ken Shamrock and like the fighters that like brought it over. And Steve Blackman, I always remember him bringing that kendo stick. And,
Oh yeah, yep.
Singapore Cane and cracking people with it. So I mean, I always wanted to do that stuff.
So obviously the heavy hitters are big go-tos for you. Is there a particular match that draws you in that you could watch over and over again?
Man, there's so many. If I really had to draw it down, I think Batista Taker from WrestleMania 23. I say that because I was in the crowd and I was there for that, and like that was the best match on the card that night for two big guys to just it brought out the best you've ever seen in Taker and Batista, in my opinion. Like that's the one match that I could throw on and just watch it. Or same with Shawn Michaels and Ric Flair from Mania. Like,
One
that
of
was-
my favorites. One of my
that
all-time
was one of
favorites. The
best
emotion, the
matches.
drama.
Yeah, 25 minutes of nothing but chain wrestling. Like that's what like that. They brought it back to old school style wrestling. It was like just good to watch.
Now let's go ahead and take it back to kind of the very beginning here for people that might not be too familiar with where you kind of came from. Where did you get your training at? What school did you come up in? Because we have so many choices here
Right.
in Iowa. We're blessed. Like compared to
Yeah.
even when I started getting into independent shows in 2005, we have so many different options now for everybody to go to. What one did you select for your training school?
Me, I personally chose IPW, Impact Pro Wrestling. They've been around 25 years now, going
Oh,
on
yeah.
25 years. So I thought I went back when I was like 18 or 19. I went for a tour, and an accident happened in the ring. It was just a freak accident. It kind of tripped me out, scared me. So I was going to be wanted to be a tag team with my best friend at the time, and we decided not to do it. And we waited, and then it kind of fell on the back burner. But I ultimately chose them because I knew TS Aggressor was going to bring the best out of me, and then eventually I got to train with James Jeffries and Justin Decent, and those guys ended up bringing out the best of me. And it's really, for me, for my style of wrestling, I couldn't have chose a better spot.
Now I know you hear a lot of horror stories about training from the old days. Do you have any horror stories from when you were going through training?
Not me personally, but I had a great time. I enjoyed it though. I like being the athletic aspect about it because people think it's nothing and easy to get in there and do that. Well, pay the money and pay your dues and let's do it, and you will find out how uneasy it is. So
I know I've never taken a bump. I've been in the ring with a microphone in my hand,
sure.
but I don't ever want to take a
Right.
bump. It doesn't, not on my radar.
See, my name's Pain, so if it ain't a little painful, I don't really want to do it. I'm an adrenaline junkie. I like, just like that go fast mentality. Like, yeah.
So obviously we can't look ahead to tonight's matchup because it hasn't happened yet. and so we're going to take that off the card. Looking back at everything that you've been involved in so far, what would you say has been your favorite match that you've been involved with?
Probably the Fans Bring the Weapons match last a year tomorrow, actually, when I won the open weight championship against Cole Cannon. That was my favorite match because I got to beat the hell out of Cole Cannon, and you can't have a better time than that. Other than that, I got to wrestle Alvin Falcone last weekend, and let me tell you, that dude, I had to resort to some stuff that I never thought I'd really have to do, but sometimes we cross those lines, and it is what it is. I won. That's at the end of the day, I took the dub.
Well, and speaking of Cole Cannon, he's in one of the main events here tonight too, as he's getting in the cage with Mr. Jason Prentice, the owner and promoter here of Absolute Pro Wrestling. And again, if you guys aren't planning on coming out, you're seeing this and you're thinking, man, there's nothing to do tonight, come on down to the Cedar Valley Sportsplex in Waterloo, because we have two cage matches. I mean, how many independent shows, not even just alone in Iowa, but around the country, are you going to see 2 cage matches?
How many are you going to see even one cage match on?
Yeah.
Right.
So I want to backtrack a little bit. You talked about the Fans Bring the Weapons match. What's the strangest weapon you've ever used?
Somebody brought a George Foreman grill, and I don't remember. We used so much stuff in that match. I know a keyboard. Somebody brought a little plastic trike, a little a scooter, a little scooter. Yeah, somebody brought a plastic scooter, and it was crazy. The George Foreman popped me the most, though.
I can't even imagine how you would use that other than just beating someone over the head.
Well,
Right.
you take the actual grill off.
That's there you go.
For next time, that's an idea for you.
Turn it, find an outlet,
Yeah.
plug it in, and put their
Burn
hand
it,
in
or
it.
go the Michael Scott route and burn their foot on it.
Okay.
Office
Burnt your foot on a George Foreman grill.
Well, I guess if you just got to have the bacon right when you get out of bed, I mean, it's got to be there, right?
Who doesn't like bacon right out?
Right?
Of
I
bed?
mean, he's not wrong there.
Victor, talk us through not just this match. This is a big, important match. Titles on the line. You're in a cage with 3 other dudes. But talk us through a general week of prep for you stepping in the ring from Sunday until just before ring time, just before bell time. What do you go through? What are you doing? What's your mindset?
Well, every morning, 4:15. I'm up at 4:15. I'm in the cold plunge. If you guys aren't doing that will change your life. You will have a new outlook on life when you're doing that at 4:15 and it's dark out and everybody's still asleep. And then I'm in the gym. I'm in the gym for an hour, and then I finish up with 30 minutes on the stair stepper. I mean, that's my cardio. I try to lift and keep my heart rate up while I'm lifting. So I'm trying to work cardio then, and then I go hit the stair stepper, and that I try to do that 4 or 5 days a week.
Do you have any rituals or superstitions when you get to the venue to get prepped up?
Not really. I have a favorite pair of socks that I make sure are always washed and clean and in the bag. That just, which except for today, actually, because they got a hole in them.
Oh,
And so I put them on the shelf, and I'm like, all right, I got to find a new pair
Not the
of.
lucky socks.
I know. So I don't know what that means.
Should we start GoFundMe?
Superstitiously, but,
Yes.
GoFundMe for Victor socks.
Yes.
But I did the same thing when I fought. I had a pair of green fuzzy socks, and that I always wore. My mom always gave me crap about it because I was green fuzzy socks. I was always wearing them, but that's what I always wore to the cage. So I kind of found that same. I don't know. I like socks, so it's weird. I like soft things on my feet. So.
What's the best advice you've received so far since you started wrestling?
Oh, slow down. Like, no doubt about it. Sometimes you're just going too fast.
You know,
get there too
it's
soon.
truly
Often I hear that when I ask people that, like, how, so I ask that a lot to everybody, and a lot of it is, slow down.
yeah,
That
it's
and-
amazing.
Psychology. Make it make sense. Like,
Yeah.
like that's a big thing. I like to make things make sense. Like,
Yeah.
why am I doing this? In
Right.
at this
Well, and
particular
especially
moment.
here on this independent level, you see so many guys who are just go, 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 and
Right.
they don't like to sell anything. They hit a move, they don't even put their hand on their head like it hurt, and it's like,
Right.
that's part of the hey, slow down, actually make it look like you're in a fight.
Sure, I agree with that. Yep, slow down. That's probably number one, and then psychology number two. Why are we doing this? Is another thing that I've learned, and I'm still I'll be a greenhorn for the next 15 years, so I'm never gonna know how to do it right. I don't think I'm always gonna make mistakes, but I think I think I do all right.
Right.
I'm learning more and more. Every opponent I get in there with, I learn more about myself, and I push myself to the limits, and I try to go